Great. Okay.
It says we're live. So can you let us know if you can hear us so we see if our sound is working? Give us a yay in the chat if you can hear us. Oh. Okay, now I think we're live.
Okay.
Can you give us a yay in the chat if you can hear us?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, there we go. All right.
Okay.
Some small technical difficulties, but here we are. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us.
So who do we have here?
Well, I'm seeing a lot of familiar names. Wow, like so many of you who've been subscribed for such a long time. It's just great to see you all chiming in where you're from, all parts of the world. We've got Turkey, we've got Switzerland, Japan.
Wow, that's amazing. So welcome everyone. We're so glad that you're here. We just thought we would start off today with a really quick poll just to see where everyone's at. So yes, we know there is still a pandemic going on, but we are wondering who is ready for travel in 2022. Give us a yay if you are very ready for travel. Yeah. Do we have some yays?
Okay, well, I see yays are coming in. Okay, now they're flying in. Okay, so we're not alone in wanting to travel.
Everyone's ready for travel. All right, so the structure of today's live stream, we've got a whole bunch of updates that we're very excited to share with you. And we know that you guys also have some questions.
Yeah.
So we're gonna kind of bounce back and forth. We're gonna give you a little update and then you can ask some questions and then updates and questions and so forth. And I think we're gonna aim for about half an hour maybe, but we'll, if we go over, that's fine as well. We're really excited to spend this time with you guys. So
if we don't get to your question, because I know for my part, trying to catch them all in the chat, I'm definitely going to miss some. If there's something you want us to answer, just leave it in the comments after the live stream and we'll definitely go through and make sure we answer everything.
That's right. Okay. So the very first topic that we wanted to talk about, you may be wondering, why didn't we go to Portugal? So we've been talking about Portugal. We had plans for Portugal, and then suddenly we did not go to Portugal. So Gillian, why didn't we go to Portugal?
So here is the whole backstory. We were all set up to go there in March. We had our Airbnb, we had our flights, everything, we were ready to go. Well, sometime around sort of early to mid-February, we found out that Portugal had quietly closed their doors to Canadians. Now, Americans were never affected. This was Canadians and maybe a couple other groups. And suddenly our plans had to go out the window. We had to figure out something else to do. So we took a few days. We decided where we wanted to go. We sat down one day and made all the changes that day, rebooking Airbnb, changing our flights, which is very time consuming when you have pets.
Yeah.
We did it all in one day. And then we found out that same day, Portugal had actually changed their entry requirements again. And we were then allowed, but it was too late.
It was too late.
Way too late.
We were like packed and ready for Izmir.
So Portugal just wasn't in the cards for us this year, but we certainly hope to get there in the future.
So just another reason to be very flexible in your travel planning when there's a pandemic going on. So we've now learned this lesson a few times. And we'll probably continue to learn it going forward. But the upside is we had a wonderful time in Izmir. And now we're back in Toronto and we're ready for the next stage of our travel, which we're going to talk about.
We're going to get to that
very soon. Okay. So do we have any questions?
I have not seen questions yet. So feel free, anything that's on your mind, you can just chime that into the chat. But I think we had some questions from people along the way that have written in as well. So we're going to be covering off on some of those topics too.
Great. So the first question that we got a lot of, so I think you guys might remember who are on YouTube that we said, hey, is there anything you're interested in talking about? A lot of people had questions about home. So what do we consider home? Like we are back in Toronto and it is our hometown. So, do we envision ourselves having a home maybe sometime in the future? When there will be too much travel? Are we getting tired of travel? Are we thinking about having a home again one day? So Gillian, if you can take us into the topic of home.
Sure. Okay, so Toronto is our hometown. But it's actually been almost a decade since we last lived here. I'd say most recently our home was Singapore, where we lived for 6 years. And at this point, home seems to be kind of wherever we're living at the time. We've kind of detached from having one place to feel like home that we always need to come back to. So that's something that's changed. And on that, I mean, we love this life of travel, even though we've been technically doing the sort of more nomadic thing for a couple years, 2.5 years. We still feel like it's just the beginning. You know, we did have some interruptions coming back to Canada because of the pandemic and personal reasons. So we're still loving it. We're finding the pace of one destination per month is really nice for us. You know, who knows what might happen in the future in terms of slowing down or
Yep.
finding places that we might want to return to.
So people had a lot of questions about that in the future. Do you
Mm.
think that you might want to like purchase a home again, or maybe, rotate through various Airbnbs? So a couple of things on that. Every time we spend time with people who have a home, it reminds us, wow, homes need a lot of
Yeah,
maintenance. So being back here in Toronto and seeing our friends and family again, it's always a lot about maintaining the home, renovating the home, paying for all the home bills. And we just don't have any of that when we live in Airbnbs. We sort of breeze in, all the bills are taken care of. We just make one payment and then we leave again, and we don't have to think about shoveling snow in the winter or raking leaves in the fall or anything like that. So we're very happy not owning a home. That said, I think maybe as we look ahead, we might be interested in having some stability in our lives. So we always have those moments when we travel when things aren't exactly going to plan. And I think one of those moments was when actually we were in Izmir, and we went there thinking, oh, we're going to have glorious springtime on the coast of Turkey. And it turned out to be just really an extended winter. And we were sitting in our lovely apartment, which was also freezing cold because it wasn't really well insulated. And we were tucking in at night wearing full pajamas, a couple pairs of socks, and a cozy sweater, still being really cold. And we were thinking, maybe it might be nice to have a little more control over our environment from time
that's
to
for
time.
sure. Yeah, it
So,
does happen.
yeah, it does happen when it's not exactly going to plan. But on the upside is we're always in a new destination and really loving that.
Yeah.
So we just sort of take one with the other.
Mhm.
And as we look forward to the future, I think there may come a time when we want to go back to places that we've really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Like, are
Yeah.
there places that you've thought about that you want to go back to?
Definitely countries that I want to go back to, and it's not to say that I wouldn't go back to some of the same cities, but I guess we're just in that mode of wanting to like see new things. I'd say if we were looking for somewhere where we kind of wanted to stay in Europe or not in Europe, but in the region and sort of hide out for a winter, Antalya is a place that I wouldn't mind going back to. It was just so beautiful, relatively warm. That one I'm keeping on our list as a possible return to destination.
That's
And
right.
there's a few related comments and questions came in. So Muria is mentioning that her home is wherever she's staying, and I know we were in touch with you where you are there in Alanya. And also there was a question from Neil here about how often that we go back home and whether
Mm.
we need this to keep feeling settled. And this is something we've actually talked a lot about. And at this point, we're feeling like coming back a couple times a year is
Yeah.
something that we want, even though it is, a big distance to come each
Yeah.
time. I mean, we're totally free with our time, and so we don't want to look back and say, oh, like I wish I had spent more time in person with family, because we are very much in touch with people
That's
all the
right.
time. We're in a world of video calls, and so but sometimes just being there in person has a lot of value too. So we are making a point to come back
Mhm.
regularly during our travels.
That's right. Although we always do invite our family to
Yes.
come and meet with us as
Yep,
well.
yep.
But the pandemic hasn't been
It
conducive
has made that a bit
for
harder.
travel.
Although your father came, my family's going to be joining us this summer. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
great when that works out.
Yeah. So definitely it is important for us as we get older and everyone gets older. It's just really important to spend that precious time together. So traveling home, even if it's a long flight, is definitely worth it. All right.
Mhm.
So now I did have a topic that a lot of people wanted to know about. Are there any other questions to
We
look
can
at?
pop back. There's a few other comments,
Okay.
but we can dip back into those.
Okay, so I heard very loud and very clear from everyone who answered our poll on YouTube that you really want to hear about our budget and how our finances are doing. Obviously, we've been talking a little bit as we've traveled about some of our Airbnbs being a little more spendy than Gillian would be comfortable with. So, we do talk about our cost of living every month, but we don't talk about our big financial picture. So that's something that we're going to talk about right now. So I am actually the one, if you can believe it, who really is in charge of the budget keeping. So Gillian really focuses on
The
the
longer term,
investments,
big picture.
and I focus on the day-to-day, month-to-month tracking of our budget, although she's gotten really good about
I
logging
always
expenses.
do log, yes.
Yeah. So when we first started traveling, we used to, and I used to in particular, I used to focus on that budget so hard. So I was very concerned with always meeting the allotted amount. I didn't want to go over every single month because we were new to travel. We had no idea how far our budget would go. We were going to countries. We didn't really know, what we could get for our dollar. Like, what would it feel like if we had X amount to spend on our entertainment or on our food? Would we be getting enough? So I used to monitor it very closely. And, sometimes we'd give a few things up to make sure that we were making those budget numbers. Certainly there were times when I was calculating what we had left in the budget for our daily food allowance.
She'd be like,
make sure.
Wow, we've got $50 left a day. We've been doing so well. We gotta go out more.
Just to clarify, we don't spend $50 a day on food. So that has really changed, actually. So from the beginning, when I was monitoring it so closely, we've now become a lot more relaxed about our budget because we've come to understand that it's actually going to fluctuate from month to month depending on where we are. So we were in Spain. Yeah, it's more expensive in Spain, but then we were in Turkey and we knew those were going to be basically cheaper months, even with our really pricey Airbnb. So I have now started to really look at our budget more on an annual basis. So I take a longer view of it. And I know if we go a bit over, if we spend a little bit more, that's fine because we're going to end up someplace for another couple months where our budget is going to go a lot further and we're not going to have to spend as much money. So it's really brought, I feel, a much more relaxed approach. So even though we do share those numbers with you every month, we're not stressing about them. We're feeling really comfortable, actually.
Mm-hmm. And for the people who look at the financial independence calculations, the drawdown rate. So we're sticking with a drawdown of less than 3% per year. And with that, we find we're able to live very comfortably. And we even have buffer for things like our experience with the rising Airbnb costs and to
lifestyle inflation.
A little bit of lifestyle inflation. I think we factored that in by starting our withdrawal rate really low. It was actually a 2.5.
It was very low, yes.
So yeah, so far so good, but we do keep our eye on it for sure.
Great. And actually, for those who are interested in budget, and I know that most of you guys are, we are doing another video. So in 2 weeks' time, you're going to see a video, and it's all about the real cost of slow travel, the real cost of our lifestyle, because every single month we share with you guys what we've spent on all the fun stuff. So our amazing accommodations in the Airbnb, our entertainment, our dining out, that's all the great stuff. But actually, we spend a lot more money than that on travel. We've got our transportation,
insurance,
we've got insurance, we've
data
got
plans,
all kinds of stuff,
all those other things.
So we're finally going to be doing a big reveal of all the other things that you need to think about. Because honestly, if you look at our cost of living videos and you think, oh, that's very reasonable, I can do full-time travel based on that. You're not going to be budgeting enough. There are a few more costs. So take a look for that coming out in a couple weeks. And with that, are there any questions to talk about?
Well, there is a question. We were just talking about finances. One question was whether we would dabble in property investing along the line.
I often fantasize if I see a really beautiful place somewhere. I'm like, Gillian, can you imagine? But then I realize I can rent it and it's going to be a lot less.
Yeah, that's really where our head has been at. I mean, we did own a home how long ago? Gosh, it was more than a decade ago. And since then, I've really not felt inclined to take that back on. And I just feel that the return that I'm getting on my investments, certainly we're satisfied with it. And it's so low effort. Whereas when you own property, there is a lot of friction, like the things that we mentioned, maintenance costs, all these kinds of things. So for us, I think we're going to be probably not investing in property.
Not investing in property. But again, in terms of having a home, you never know if we might feel the need to have like in the distant
Yeah.
future. And again, it's just based on, sometimes when your travel's not going well, you're like, wouldn't it be nice to sleep in the same bed night
Yeah.
after night?
Yeah. I think though for us it would be
So
more
far
more
away
of,
in the
but also more
future.
of like an emotional decision
Yes,
versus something that we
emotional
did
as an
as
investment.
our investment for
That's
us in our
right.
situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
There was also a question about how we meet friends while traveling.
Oh, that's a really good one. And honestly, you have to put in a little bit of effort. Would you
Yeah.
talk about that?
I mean, we have connected with people different ways.
Mhm.
One way that exists now, and I'm sure many of you are familiar with the Go with Less
Mhm.
website, Facebook group, which is a great way to meet people who are traveling full time. And we have a number of friends who are on that there.
Yep.
Um,
There's really, what I would say is you have to make an effort. We have the wonder of the internet now. So it really is possible to connect with so many different people. There is going to be an interest group, whatever your niche interests, your demographics, whatever group you want to find, you can definitely find them out there.
mhm.
Go with Less has been amazing for people who are interested in the financial independence, retire early lifestyle. For those who are digital nomads, I mean, there's a group for every little slice of life. So,
Yeah, there's also, I mean, that's a good way to
yeah,
meet sort of other expats. There's also opportunities to meet more locals through
yeah,
things like meetups, the website meetups. Often they will have groups for locals who want to practice English or whoever's in the city and wants to
yes,
practice English. So you can go and you can help someone out by giving them someone to talk to, and then you can share about your own cultures and whatever about yourselves. So
yeah.
that's another way that
It
I've
is.
used actually.
I
Yeah.
do find that having some sort of social media profile out there makes it a lot easier to connect with other people. So I don't endorse hours on social media,
No,
but I
and
have
you don't have
found
to have a blog.
you don't have to have a
I
blog.
I tend to
Yeah.
think Instagram is one of the easy ways in the
Yes.
sense that you can just snap some photos where you are, here I am, and then especially if people see, oh, this person I've been in touch with, they're actually in the same place as me right now, and that's when you can get those connections happening in
That's right.
person.
So for us, we had a very quiet, I mean, it was almost the first year of our travel. We weren't really meeting people. I mean,
Yeah.
part of that, there was a pandemic going on. We made a mistake and we didn't prepare before we started traveling. So we didn't start building those connections out. We didn't connect with other people who were also about to travel or already traveling. So it was a very quiet beginning to our travels. But since then, obviously, we have our YouTube channel. And one of the primary reasons we have it is, of course, to connect with other people. So we have that and we're active on social media. And we have connected online with so many different people. And then it's always so amazing when you happen to be in the same country, same city at the same time with people, and you can do an in-person meetup. So we had an amazing time
Mhm.
meeting up with some people who are bloggers or vloggers that you guys might know, like the snail travelers
And the geek
and geek
streamers.
streamers, and then also people that we've just come to know through our channel and who don't necessarily have a blog or a vlog, but who are so amazing to meet in person. So that's
Mhm.
always been a big thrill that we've had over the past year of travels.
Definitely. Um,
Great. Any
Do we
other?
move on? We have questions. Do you want to bounce back or
Give
do you
them
want to go
another
ahead?
question and then
Okay,
yeah.
some questions about what kind of travel insurance we're using.
Oh, that's
And
a
that's actually
good one
it's
for
a
Gillian.
timely one because we have actually recently switched.
Hmm.
So when we first set out, we were using a plan from a company called Safety Wing. And then, annually I just shop around, see what makes sense. We actually switched to a different plan at the when COVID hit because Safety Wing at that time was not covering COVID, and they also exclude some kinds of treatments, such as say cancer treatments, and we just weren't comfortable with the policy at that time, so
Yeah.
we switched to Cigna Global.
Yes.
I'm not a spokesperson for Cigna Global or Safety Wing for that matter. And we were with Cigna for a while.
Yeah.
But my most recent review of the policies and rates and so on, and also the fact that we have become residents of Canada again, so we have a bit different relationship with the healthcare system here in Canada. We
Yeah.
are able to come here and tap on that if we need to, we're now actually back on safety wing.
That's right.
So full circle on that one. Yeah. And I think the main thing to keep costs low for those of you finding the rates quite exorbitant is if you think you're going to be outside of the US, then remove the US from your policy, and then you will be able to have a 50% savings on your rates. Now, of course, if you are going to spend time in the US, make sure you're protected. I mean, that goes without saying. But the type of policy I'm talking about is for people who are traveling around the world and wanting to have hospital coverage while they're traveling.
And the other thing I would say is if there are two of you and someone's really good at looking at the details, get that person working on it because they'll be very diligent.
Yeah. We do have like a nitty gritty video from way back when.
Yeah.
Not the most exciting video, but if you're looking for like the details of what to look for in the travel health policy, that we recommend that video.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, another question, Gillian.
We're doing questions. I can do. Well, one person was wondering about safety concerns while traveling. If we've ever had any situations that made us uncomfortable, or
it's funny. People always ask that, and I personally think, and you guys can confirm, the thing that they have in mind is maybe like interactions with other people, maybe like personal safety, like theft or feeling threatened by people. But actually, the main area of safety that I am personally most concerned about is road safety. So I'll tell you about that, and we can tell you about the other personal safety.
Please say it's not because of the driver. I'm like,
Gillian is an excellent driver, just so everyone knows, whether in manual or automatic. She's very good in both. But I have found that we've been traveling through Turkey, we've been in Albania, we've been renting cars in all those places. And what I would say is just, the road culture is a little different from what we experience, say, back in Canada. So people just tend to be a little bit more aggressive.
Quick with the horn.
Quick with the horn. Often we think that maybe some like people are pretty loose and liberal with like texting while driving, on the phone, smoking, doing all, three at the same time. So I definitely have felt quite concerned, and I'm glad that one of us is such a steady, stable driver. But that is my personal area of safety concern. Mm-hmm. What about you?
I mean, I haven't experienced situations where I felt uncomfortable. We don't tend to go, we really never go out at night after dark. We're always together, often with these like very aggressive dogs that would really intimidate anyone who's going to give us trouble. We're talking about our little poodles.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think you want to try to avoid situations that might put you at risk.
Yeah. Common sense things.
Yeah.
I think the main thing is if you're in crowded areas, don't walk around like a tourist with your phone and your map and, a purse swinging from your arm. And those are just basic things.
We like our sling bags because we've had friends in the past have, bags taken off one shoulder.
Yes.
That's one little tip.
But I think just like basic safety concerns, it also changes country to country. So all of the countries that we have gone to, there weren't any major red flags, things about personal safety that we were at all concerned about, but that could change in the future. So we always keep an eye on, what people say about the country. What are the warnings?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Great. Is there anything?
How difficult to drive on the other side of the road? I feel like I've only done that twice. Australia or
New Zealand.
New Zealand, Australia, and Malta was the one time during these travels.
Yeah.
And I didn't find it too bad. I was driving an automatic car. I think if I was like doing standard and on the other side, these things add up. But I think it was manageable.
There was only one incident where I yelled the words, "We're on the wrong side," because there was an oncoming truck and we were turning. But
I have no memory of that. I don't know.
It was just one time. Yeah. So that was fine. All right. So we have a really big update to share with everyone, and it's about our upcoming travel plan.
So you guys know us as people who are pretty much always in Europe. And when we're not in Europe, we're in Turkey or Canada. So I'll say that first.
Okay. So we we do have some plans, and as we hinted to in the title, these are all new plans. We
Yes.
literally just came up with these plans, and we are so excited to share them with you. The plans are kicking off in the beginning of May, and Jillian, tell us what's happening.
Okay, so these are all new plans. Our original plan was after being back in Canada, we had tickets booked. We were going to go to Sofia in Bulgaria, spend some more time in Bulgaria, make our way to Romania. My parents were going to come meet us there.
Yeah.
And then this little big war in the Ukraine broke out. And we thought maybe we just need to take a step back and think. Knowing that we were going to be back in Canada,
Yeah.
we thought, does it make sense for us to head straight back that way? Or given that we will already be on this side of the world, is there somewhere else that we might want to think about for this summer?
Yeah. So when we say we were booked, we were really booked. So we had our flights booked to Bulgaria. We had a couple months worth of Airbnbs. Jillian had worked out some hikes. We had little hotels booked. We had more Airbnbs in Romania. I mean, we were pretty invested in those
I put
plans.
a lot of time into those
Yeah,
plans.
yeah. But with the war, we just wanted to be really sensitive to what is happening in that region. When you look on a map, Romania is right there on the border. We don't want to be in the way of anything. We don't want to put ourselves in any kind of difficult position. So as Jillian said, we decided, hey, it's a big world out there. Maybe this is a good time to go to a different part of it. So where are we heading to?
It's like a really big buildup. Are you
Yeah.
going to say it or am I?
It's your turn.
Okay. So we are heading to Mexico.
Yeah.
Yes. We've been hearing so many things about Mexico. We grew up hearing about, or even going to, like, say, Cancun, or some very popular destinations. But it's actually a huge country, so many places to visit. So where are we going to head first?
So before I tell you where we're heading, I just want to tell you our kind of context and mindset when we were thinking of these plans. So again, we were sitting there in our freezing cold apartment in Izmir, and I said, Jillian, I need something different. I need hot weather. I need to wear a bathing suit. I need to go swimming. I want my toes in the sand. Like, give me something else. I'm tired of the cold wind blowing off the Mediterranean here. So with that in mind, we encountered, as we were researching, what's in Mexico, we encountered a beach town that we had never ever heard of before. And some of you guys will laugh at us, of course, because I think
I think it is quite well known.
It's very well known. We've never heard of it. So it's Puerto Escondido. So it's
not to be confused with Puerto Vallarta.
Not to be confused.
I think everyone's heard of that.
So it sounds like it's just our speed. We really liked, back when we were living in Singapore, we loved going to Thailand, and there was sort of that like beachy Thailand feeling that we really enjoyed, like very laid back, casual. And that's what this town sounds like. It's a surfer town, it's a backpacker town, but also a mix of locals and expats. A lot quieter than some of the
There's
beach
no
towns.
big resorts. They're just small businesses and a big long beach with a lot of surfing and then a few swimming beaches. So we're very excited to get there.
I'm just waiting for that moment when I'm sitting there on the beach with a coconut and just like, yes, this is what I was waiting for. Because of course, Toronto, for those of you following any Eastern Seaboard weather, it's been very cold here. So we're really ready for this. That's right. The next place we're going to after that, so we're actually spending 4 months in Mexico, which is the longest we've spent in any country on our travels so far. So the next place that we're going to after that is a little beautiful town in Mexico that every single nomad that we have talked to has said, you have to go there. It's so beautiful. Jillian, what is that town?
San Miguel de Allende. Yes.
So I think that many of you guys who are in our community will be very familiar with it. I'm sure you're going to have a ton of recommendations for us. Please send them our way. Definitely let us know if you're going to be there yourselves. We've already been hearing rumors of different people who will be there. So we're very excited. And we think it's just going to be a really amazing time to get to see what this beautiful colonial town is all about.
So we'll continue on other places. We'll stop it there in terms of telling you where we're going, but the adventures will continue.
Yes,
and
in Mexico.
There was one comment here from Justin, go to South America.
Oh, yes.
This is just the beginning. We do plan to continue south to see more of the world. Eventually, I do want to get back and do the travels that I had planned. But Stephanie reminded me, she's like, that work is not wasted.
Yeah.
Now we have a plan. We can come back to those plans. And I was good with moving forward.
Yeah. So, you're going to be catching us in Mexico in really just a few weeks. We're going to be there. So, yeah. Any other questions on that?
Just people fabulous. Someone
great.
suggesting we go to Merida later on, which I was there like 20 years ago, so I think it's a good time to maybe revisit. And just people seem excited about our plans, and we are too.
Yeah, great. Okay. So I think that's kind of like most of our big news. There's one other little bit of news to share with you guys. So for the astute followers, you may have noticed that we haven't been posting a video every single Sunday recently. And that's because we've decided to make a little bit of a shift to our channel. So what we want to be doing is making better, longer videos for you guys. We really want to bring you guys into the trips with us and make it feel like you're there with us. And to do that, we just have to spend a little bit more time on every single video. So what we decided to do is to switch from every week doing a video to doing better videos every other 2 weeks. That's right. Yeah. And with Gillian as our primary editor, she's like, whew, thank goodness. So she's going to she loves focusing in and creating those longer videos. And we're going to keep her busy on that.
So we hope you enjoy our videos every 2 weeks and getting longer and more interesting as we go.
So we're sort of wrapping up there. If there are any last questions, Gillian, you can let us know if there's anything else. And if people are watching and they have any follow-up questions, if there's something that you were thinking of that you didn't have a chance to ask, please do. Once the video goes live, just leave it in the comments below. We always answer your questions. We love it. It helps actually prompt a lot of our own thinking. And just so you guys know, we often talk about it later. We're like, oh, so-and-so asked this question and that's a really good one. And should we maybe think about doing something like that? So we really love all the feedback that we get from you guys, and it really motivates us to keep making videos and keep producing fun content. Great.
So thank you so much for joining the live stream. It's like wonderful to chat with all of you and also to be on the same time zone while we're doing it.
Yeah.
Although many of you are in different time zones. So what am I saying?
Great. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining. So we're going to be closing it out now. But again, leave any questions that you have. And next up, you're going to be seeing, so we're flying out just in the beginning of May. And if you follow us on Instagram, we will most certainly be sharing some content as soon as we land. And I have to say that the Airbnb that we're staying in Puerto Escondido is the most unusual place we've ever stayed in. It might be a giant mistake. It's kind of crazy.
We'll see how it works out.
So we're really excited to share that
We'll show you when we get there.
That's right. All right. Thanks,
Have
everyone.
a great day.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.